nice chatting with you. That was a nice, fun chat. I finished Breaking Bad the first season like in one night. I sat and I finished the whole season. Now our brains are wired for this technological high that we need to have. Like we don't want to talk to human beings, don't want to go out. We just want this next high. I tried watching Breaking Bad 5 times. It was a show that I just didn't get. I said, okay, fine, now I'll try. Then after a year, I tried it again. I said, okay, I'm older, wiser now, maybe more broad-minded. I will like the show, give it one more try. And I gave it one. And I was like, I don't get it. I'm sorry. I just don't get Breaking Bad.
My name is Sandeep, and right now I am with a very beautiful, the ever gorgeous Minissha Lamba. Hello, Minissha, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you.
Minissha, at the very outset, firstly, I'm not going to be asking questions on how quarantine is going to be treating you, and how you're getting treated by quarantine, what you're doing in the lockdown, and all of that crappy questions. I'm like literally tired of listening to the journalists asking questions from these. Asking such questions. So I'm going to begin by asking, obviously, again, this is again going to be a very common question. I'm sure you've heard it a lot of times from various interviewers, for that matter. You have done some wonderful films. You have been a part of Corporate, Bachna Hasino, I can never forget. Shaurya, you've been a part of Yahan by Shujit Sarkar. Today, when you look back in retrospect, what is that one role that you perhaps feel that I was marvelous in this?
Well, I don't know about marvelous, but I definitely feel that my very first film was a film that was serious, and a non-actor like me just literally had to dive into the deep blue ocean and learn how to either sink or swim. So in many ways, Yahan is like your first love. It's your first
Absolutely.
experience with everything. It's your first great love. It's your first heartbreak. It's your first everything that sets your formative emotions and experiences into being a young adult.
So, you consider Yahan to be that one film that you kind of is close to your heart, for that matter, isn't it?
It's very close to my heart. See, I don't know whether I was exceptional or anything in that. I was 20, 19, I think 19 when I played that role. Today more than a decade, and would I play it any differently? I don't know. I'm a completely different person today.
Yeah, so absolutely.
What kind of experiences would I bring now to that role? It's an ever changing craft. So I think maybe my best work is ahead of me, possibly.
Wow, lovely. Minissha, from what you just said, I kind of culled out that you're talking about evolution of sorts, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you're talking about evolution, where do you see yourself? Again, when you look back and you see yourself today, how do you think that all of that has changed? Your interaction with the media, your perception of your audiences, and all of that, for that matter. In a nutshell, if you could perhaps sum it up and say.
I don't know how things have changed, but yes, now everyone is so used to seeing a very varied platform of entertainment. Today,
Right.
it is very exciting for Indian artists, because if some of us or a small percentage of Indian audiences liked watching shows like The X-Files and case shows which are not mainstream, now we have an opportunity to make them in the Indian market for the Indian audiences. So there's no longer thing that अरे ये film इसकी budget बहुत गई है, इसका film नहीं बना सकते because the producer scared it may tank, and he will not recover his money also. Today, then that subject can be made on an OTT platform, because you are now having an audience that wants to see various kinds of entertainment.
Absolutely.
Access to various genres of stuff. So right now, it's a very exciting time.
Absolutely. Minissha, also, as I just said, you have been a part of some wonderful films. And that big sabbatical that you took after that, I don't know, was it just after your marriage, or did you kind of think that, let me concentrate on my family now, and later on when perhaps things are going to be settled with my personal side of things, and I'll be again perhaps, looking to perhaps, spread my wings for that matter. Was that the case?
Well, the thing is that sometimes sabbaticals just happen. They just happen because
Hmm.
one just ends up getting very choosy about the kind of work that they want to do, and that sabbatical ends up
Hmm.
getting longer and longer and longer until you just like look back and you're like, oh my god, it's been a while since I've worked. What's going
Yes,
on?
yes.
And that's when you wake up and you're like, okay, now we need to reinvent, we need to refigure what we want to do with our lives. And
Hmm.
that's exactly what had happened. So it was not any kind of conscious decision, because I want to be working until the day I die, until the day I
Wow.
can put one foot in front of the other. Yeah, I want to be working. I don't want to be like sitting at home.
Absolutely. In one of your old interactions, I don't know with a certain media house or what was it exactly, but I had seen it. You had mentioned that you never. This was in the very beginning. I mean, the very beginning phase of your career, where you kind of mentioned that you have never really been keen to, walking up to offices of perhaps making calls and then asking for work. Do you think this particular attitude was to a certain? I wouldn't call it attitude for that matter. I'm just saying, the way of your working. Did that really affect you? Do you think, if you would have done it, or you would have been more aggressive, like your contemporaries for that matter, do you think it would be really helpful to kind of grab some more work in your kitty and put it in your kitty for that matter?
I definitely do think so. I definitely do think so. It was earlier an embarrassment for me to have to make a call, to have
Mm,
to go, like, the begging bowl in front of a director and say, please consider me and all of that.
yes.
I didn't know how to do that. And I definitely do feel that that has sort of, maybe I would have done a lot more work had
Hmm.
I not had a problem doing that. And
Right.
it's really amazing, because today I'm calling up makers and I'm telling them, look, I want to work and all of that, and it's actually not a
Hmm.
big deal at all. It's
Yes.
uh, it's really actually not a big deal. There's no problem in picking up the phone and asking someone, hey, listen, you're great and I would love to work with you, and
Right. Right.
please keep me in mind for something which you think where I would be appropriate for. There's absolutely nothing wrong in doing that. And I think as I've become older now, I've understood that, and I don't have a
Don't say
problem.
that, Manisha. Breaking my heart, literally. Don't say
Listen,
that as I'm.
we all
It is a shock to me, literally, because you're looking so beautiful, so pretty. Don't call yourself old. I mean, that's a
no,
heartbreaker.
I'm just saying. I mean, I debuted in 2005, and this is like whatever year it is right now. So yeah,
Big
time
deal.
has passed. You cannot
All
be
the
delusional
time.
about that, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So tell me, Manisha, are you a destiny believer?
Definitely. I definitely,
Uh,
definitely, definitely do believe in destiny. And
yeah.
everyone who said I made my own destiny, it was in their
Hmm.
destiny to do what they
That
have
is
done
why
and
they
achieve
could
what
make it.
they have done. That is why it's easy for them to say, I made my own destiny. But there are
Yes. Yes.
millions of others behind you who've also tried to do, emulate you, try to be as successful as you are, and they haven't been able to, because
Yeah.
it wasn't in their destiny. I'm a firm believer of that. You know, how many people can, no,
Hmm.
literally, how many people can say, "Oh, you make your own destiny"? Only the handful of people for who it was destined to be successful.
Yeah.
To the
Yeah. Right.
millions who
Right.
tried
Absolutely.
and are not. So definitely, of course, there is a destiny. There is a fate that you come here with. I think we all are just playing out our pre-existing paths, which we are supposed to. Possibly, that's one way of looking.
Hmm.
You want to make sense about your existence out here and why you are here and why you do what you want to do. Maybe that is one
Right.
way. Just make sense out of things that are just senseless around you.
Hmm. So, I mean, since you're a firm believer in destiny, I'm sure you also believe that you cannot really control. I mean, life. You don't really have any. You don't really have a reign to control life, for that matter. So, I mean, the fact that today, when you're making a comeback in Ullu, firstly, what actually egged you to come back with a web series, and what was that particular part of the facet that perhaps fascinated you about the show, about the web series?
The thing is, in the last couple of years, for me, the medium has not made a difference. If I have to
Acha,
work,
okay.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, film ही करना है वरना मैं नहीं करूँगी.
Hmm.
You're an actor,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
Right, right, absolutely.
before television, before TV, and before the film reel or the photographic reel was invented,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
uh, every sort of acting was done live and it was done on stage, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
That's right.
only technology has enabled an actor to now have various mediums available to them. But your
Hmm.
basic job is acting. Right? Otherwise, if technology hadn't been there, everyone would be theater actors right now, acting on a stage in front of a live
Yeah,
audience.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So then
Uh,
the medium doesn't matter to me, whether it's Bollywood, whether it's television, whether it's OTT platform. I'm doing theater also right now,
hmm.
you
Hmm.
know. So that way I'm very open-minded. I'm very open-minded. Acting is acting.
Hmm.
It just it depends on what story you get in what medium. That's
Right,
all.
right. Absolutely. So, tell me a little bit about Kasak, as in your role, and a little bit about it.
So you'll see me in two different versions. You'll see me as a very, very young girl who first gets
Hmm.
treated by Sheetal in a hospital, and Sheetal's compassion and Sheetal's love changes her, gives her a direction in life where she's like, I want to be like you and I want to help people.
Hmm.
Uh, Next, we see her 30 years down the line. All right,
Okay.
when she
Okay.
discovers, her husband is in the same hospital where
Hmm.
Sheetal nursed her, and she wants to meet Sheetal. And when
Hmm.
she meets Sheetal, she realizes what a tragedy has befallen upon her. And
Right.
then
Okay.
it's a human interest story. It's a story about a huge tragedy that happens to a woman, and how one tragedy happening to one woman changes the life of so many people around her.
Hmm.
know. It's also it is inspired definitely by Aruna ji, who
Hmm.
everyone the story and all of that. It is
Absolutely.
inspired by that, but it's her life story. Um, it is about a heinous crime that happens to a woman, and more
Hmm.
than it being a headline or a newspaper article that is that people honestly, which newspaper articles and all have a tendency of anesthetizing the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, after a point, it's just, oh, this happened, one in a coma, and all of that. But when you see the story, when you see that similar crime happen to a woman in a
Hmm.
story format with emotions,
Hmm.
when you make a person out of, when you make a human being out of that person and make a story out of it, to show
Right.
audiences, that's it really, the heinousness of an act really drives home. And that was
Hmm.
one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this show, because it does bring to light, talks about crimes against women, and how then women come together also to support one another, to help one another, fight for one another. So it's all of
Right.
those things.
So, Manisha, I had a word with Vineet the other day, and he kind of told me that it was really difficult and taxing for him and the rest of the crew to shoot in a real life location, as like you guys are shooting in this hospital in Parel,
Yes,
and it was called the Balaji Hospital or something, and it was very
yes,
difficult because there were real patients all around, and there were just very few. I mean, two or three technicians used to come inside, the lightmen, two lightmen at the most, and the actors used to be there, and there used to be barely any sound. I mean, you've got to tell me. I mean, this is what he told me, that these are the issues that he faced. It was really difficult for him to shoot in such conditions. And what, according to you, was perhaps one of the most challenging aspects as far as shooting for Kasak?
see, it was a fairly straightforward role for me, so I don't think there was anything
Hmm.
challenging as such. What was
Hmm.
sobering was the environment where we were shooting in, which was a hospital. So if we were shooting in
Hmm.
we were actually shooting in wards where other patients were convalescing. So therefore, we had
Right,
to be
right.
extremely quiet in the hospital. There was a crew that was a minimum crew, and of course, when you're in an environment like that, and then you're shooting the kind of show that you are shooting, there's very little hasi mazak
Hmm.
that happens on set and all of that, because you've got to be very
Bilkul.
respectful of the environment that you are in.
Hmm.
But it is a short show. The show is, I think, about 4 5 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. I don't exactly remember. So
Hmm.
it is a short show. Therefore, the time frame that also we took to shoot it was a short time. It was not like we were there for a month or something and we disturbed patients. We were there for just like 4 5 days. Quickly wrapped up everything. We were
Hmm.
silent as mice, tried to be at least, and hopefully we gave little respite to the patients out there. Like they were at least a bit entertained with stuff that was happening instead of just, I mean, people who've been to hospitals know that how lonely and boring it can be to be a patient in a
Yeah.
hospital.
Let it go.